Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anca and I do art and illustration related videos, so if you're into that, make sure you subscribe and check out the other videos on my channel. In today's video, I am doing an air dry clay do-it-yourself project. I wanted to make some mittens ornaments for my patrons this month, and I will be sharing with you the step-by-step process and what I do to achieve these ornaments. So I start off using Das air dry clay. I usually wrap it up in cling foil just so it doesn't dry out, and I roll out the clay using a rolling pin, and I made a stencil made out of cardboard and cut out the shapes. I made 4 pieces because I have 4 patrons on my higher tiers and they will be receiving these. The whole process is pretty simple. I chose a pretty simple shape which you can do very easily, even if you're not very good at drawing. After I cut out the shape using an X-Acto knife, I usually use some water and some tools to smooth out the edges and make everything as tight and neat as possible. This will help me with the drying process, and when I have to sand them, I don't have to sand them that much. So I leave them to dry for about 3 days just to make sure they are dry, and then I can start decorating them. To decorate them, I used Artistro acrylic paint and Artistro paint pens. I started off with a light peachy pink background. I did the same color on both sides. I wasn't sure what design I wanted to make on them. I knew I wanted kind of a knit pattern design, and then I went with a green on the cuff area, on the finger, and on top of the mittens. The green was kind of patchy and I had to go with 2 layers on each of the pieces, and I'm not sure if it's because of the paint I am using. I usually use gouache for these kinds of projects, but I have a huge box of acrylic paints from Artistro and I thought I would use them for this project in particular. So after I finished doing the green portions on them, I went ahead with Artistro paint pens and added in small details. Now I kind of freehanded these details. I wanted to make like a knit pattern, as I said, and looked up some Pinterest photos just for inspiration and did some geometric shapes basically on them. The Artistro paint pens worked really nice for this stage. They were really okay to use for fine details and small circles and lines, so I would definitely recommend you go with some sort of markers like these. Posca pens are pretty similar, so if you don't have Artistro, you can totally use Posca markers. I went ahead and did the same design on all of them, and after I finished the design, I layered 2 coats of green on the back side, and to finish everything off, I used a gouache gloss varnish just to seal the colors in and make sure they are durable. So this is basically my whole process. It's a pretty simple DIY project. I will add strings to them and send them to my patrons. If you are interested in my Patreon, I will leave a link in the description box and also here on the screen somewhere. I offer all sorts of benefits, from original artwork to pet portraits and monthly art mail. So if you're into that, make sure you check out my Patreon page. And also I have a lot of air dry clay videos on my channel with all sorts of projects, so be sure to check out my DIY projects playlist. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.